I tried to do a simple nozzle upgrade on my Prusa Mini and somehow ended up punching a hole straight into my build plate. Yeah, not exactly how I planned for this upgrade to go. But in the end, I did get the E3D Revo Micro installed, so today we're going to see if the upgrade was actually worth it, but things don't go quite as planned. The Prusa Mini might be getting a little old at this point, but it's still a really solid little printer. It was first introduced back in 2019, so it's definitely getting up there in age. The problem I ran into recently was actually finding replacement parts for the Hotend, specifically the silicone sock. I had a pretty bad print failure that blobbed up the entire Hotend, and when I went looking for a replacement sock, I realized Prusa doesn't actually sell them, and from what I could tell, they never really did. That meant going third party, which kind of got me thinking. While I was looking for parts, I noticed that Printed Solid had an E3D Revo Micro upgrade on clearance for $42.40 or $69.90 for the kit that includes all the nozzle sizes. Now, my choice was either the answer to everything or nice. The Revo Micro has a pretty big advantage. Swapping nozzles is ridiculously easy, and replacement parts are much easier to get. So instead of hunting down silicone socks, I decided to upgrade the entire nozzle system and grab the kit that included all the different nozzle sizes. Before performing the upgrade though, I figured I should check to see how the stock setup performs with a max flow rate test. If you've never seen one of these before, a max flow rate test is basically just a way to find out how much plastic your Hotend can melt and push through the nozzle before the print starts to fail. The printer gradually increases the amount of filament it's pushing out, and at some point, the Hotend just can't keep up anymore. That number tells you the maximum flow rate your setup can reliably handle. For the test, I used some FILAMENT PLA, Polymaker Poly-Lite PLA, and some of Printed Solid's Jessie PETG. This is actually my first time using the Jessie PETG, so I was really curious to see how it would perform. Funny enough, the only reason I tested two PLAs is because the first one performed so badly compared to the PETG that I thought something must be wrong. With Polymaker PLA, I got a result of 16 millimeters cubed per second, while the PETG came in at 22.5. That seemed pretty odd, so I ran the test again with some Prusa PLA and got 20 millimeters cubed per second. If you end up running one of these tests yourself and wondering how I got those numbers, all you need is a pair of calipers or even just a ruler. Then you plug the measurements under the formula I have up on the screen right now, and that's your number. Now, the Revo Micro is supposed to be a drop-in replacement for the Prusa Mini for the most part, meaning this should have been a fairly quick upgrade with almost no tinkering. My first mistake after installing the upgrade was not tightening the nozzle down enough. During the first test, I adjusted the pin to probe to account for the nozzle height difference. I ran a test and it came out awful. So I tightened the nozzle down to where it was supposed to be, but I forgot to adjust the probe again. So when the printer started its self-check, the nozzle dove straight into the build plate. And yeah, it left this nice little hole. Definitely not my proudest moment. After adjusting the pin to probe, I was able to get the printer to home and bed level again, but the problems weren't over there yet. Now, I was getting some serious extrusion issues. My first layer calibrations looked awful and inconsistent, and my max flow rate tests were failing almost immediately. At this point, I thought something must be wrong with the new Hotend. But after doing some digging online, I decided to check the extruder gear, and it was completely packed with filament debris. Basically, the filament was slipping and not providing a constant pressure. I actually find it kind of funny that I never noticed this before changing the Hotend. I did notice some print issues, but nothing this severe. But once I cleaned up the extruder gear, everything started printing perfectly again. After that whole side quest, I was finally able to rerun the flow tests. And the result? Honestly, they're basically identical, and I kind of figured that was going to be the case. But the performance wasn't really the whole point of this upgrade. What this upgrade gave me is ease of use. I can now easily swap nozzles, find replacement parts, and probably extend the life of the printer because of that. And for a printer like the Prusa Mini, that might be getting a little older. This matters quite a lot to me. If you still like the Prusa Mini, get subscribed because I actually have a few more upgrades planned for this little printer. And while you're down there in the comments, let me know what upgrades you think I should try next. You know, this printer might be old, but I still think it has a lot of life in it. You know, if you love this content, consider checking out my Patreon in the link down below. Now, if you want to see what a much newer Prusa can do, check out this video right here where I check out the Prusa Core 1. In fact, I'll see you over there. This is Adam from the Rad Dad Print Lab, and I'll see you next time.